Having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Porchlight Letters podcast number 2546. Our question we're tackling today is, where was your family when they first got electricity? Think about that. Electricity has not always been around. So where was your family when they got it? Think of your ancestors. Where were they living out on a farm? Were they in a city? Getting electricity was one of the biggest changes many families ever experienced. For generations, homes were lit with candles, kerosene lamps, gas lights. Evenings ended early because there simply wasn't enough light to continue working or reading. Then one day, everything changed. With the flick of a switch, homes became brighter, safer, and full of new possibilities. The arrival of electricity transformed everyday life. Children could read after dark. Families gathered under the electric lights instead of around oil lamps, and household chores slowly became easier as new appliances appeared. Radios, refrigerators, washing machines, and electric irons changed the way people lived and worked, often saving hours of labor each week. Every family experienced this milestone differently. Some lived in towns where electricity had been available for years. Others, especially in rural communities, waited much longer before power lines finally reached their homes. For many, the first electric light bulb glowing in the house was a moment of amazement that they will never forget. These are the stories that rarely appear in family records, yet they tell us so much about how our ancestors lived. Understanding when electricity arrived helps us imagine daily life, the challenges they faced, and how quickly the world around them began to change. I have no recollection I've always had electricity. I don't know of any stories in my family about the first time they got electricity. That generation is now gone. But it would be interesting. Now, there is a movie which is really cool. It's called The Christmas Candle. And it's one that I watch every year. And it is about a minister who goes to a new town. And the town are very much in awe of the Christmas candle. And whoever gets the Christmas candle, and it's one that's blessed by an angel, and whoever gets that Christmas candle, their wish will come true. It's a very moving story about superstition versus reality. And so the minister comes in, and electricity is a brand new thing. And so he decides he's going to turn the church into the first place in town to have electricity. And then the thing that follows, and the lessons that he himself learns, along with the lessons that the town people learn as well. And what is it actually to have a wish, to have other people help it come true, and that sort of thing. The community starts coming together to help others achieve their wishes that they have. One guy wants to be able to see, and I have to tell you, Susan Boyle appears in it as well, and you get to hear her magnificent voice as she sings the theme song for the movie. It is a great Christmas movie. I absolutely love watching it every year. But it's placed in that time when electricity is a very new thing, and you might overload a system somewhere along the way. But in the meantime, he brings the community together. Everybody puts their wishes into a basket before the Christmas candle is blessed. It's blessed on this particular night, and I can't remember how many years there are. Number of times I've watched the movie. I can't remember how many years there are between when the angel comes and blesses the candle, but it happens to be this particular year. And he writes down all of the wishes that everybody has, and he starts fulfilling those wishes in different ways and helping people. And then the community starts coming together to help each other. He's got somebody who wanted a companion to knit with. Then he found somebody who wanted to learn to knit, so he puts them together so they can now knit together. There was a blind father who wished he could see and be able to go out by himself. And so he set up this way that this guy could figure out where he was going and get from the outside, inside, and up to the living area as well. He brought the community together, and the community came and just started helping each other and fulfilling their wishes in that way. But you do get to see the miracle of the Christmas candle. It is a humongous twist and turn at the end, which I love twisty turny movies. But it's based around the time, like I said, it's based around the time when electricity became a new thing. Since I haven't spoken to my great-grandparents about what it was like when electricity first showed up, then I don't know their stories. I would love to know their stories about that. and just thinking around the time that it came out was around the turn of the century into the 18th, into the 19th, from 1800s into 1900s. I don't know when it first appeared in New Zealand. I don't know that. But my paternal grandmother, lived out on a farm. So I don't know how long they took before they got electricity out there. Who else was out on a farm at that time? Yeah, there's probably a few of my great-grandparents as children out on farms or in rural areas where it took a while for the power to come in. And then there was the cost of bringing it in and the cost of running it and all of that sort of thing too. So when you're talking with your grandparents, which is your assignment, well, not necessarily talking to your grandparents is your assignment, but your assignment today is to ask family members when electricity first came into their home or the family farm, especially those that were around, that were alive around the turn of the century. Now, you may not have them alive now, but maybe they passed stories on to your grandparents and the grandparents passed them on to your parents. Ask. You're not going to know unless you ask them for it. What do they remember about that day? What was the first electric appliance they owned? And how did life change once the lights came on? Record their memories today, because sometimes the biggest changes begin with the flip of a single switch. And let us know in the comments below some of the stories that you uncover as well. And we're 26 years into the 2000s, and this happened at around the end of the 1800s, beginning of the 1900s. So you're talking well over 100 years ago, and it may have been 100 years ago when the electricity first reached their farm or something. But here in New Zealand, I have no idea when electricity first appeared. I'm going to have to go look that one up, I think. But talk with your family about it. What stories have been passed down about when they first got electricity? And just write them down, record them, watch some movies from around that time that are based in that time when the electricity was coming in. And but if you ever want a really good story, Christmas Candle is a really good one that shows the advantages and disadvantages of electricity versus candlelight at the time, and fitting into a brand new community. So with that, I am out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Oh, hang on. Tomorrow's Thursday here. Hang on, let me check my calendar real quick. I keep forgetting what day I'm on. Nope, we're going to be 6 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. Some days I forget what day of the week I'm on, which means I forget what day of the week it is in the US. So it's, yeah. Anyway, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Hei kona.